evening, good afternoon, good morning, good night, good whenever you're listening to us. Welcome to another episode of Midnight's Edge After Dark. I am, of course, your Narrator Supreme, Mr. Rob Robot Shlomo, coming to you from Shabby Road Studios, the shabbiest road of them all. You know, at Santa, it's actually Santa's on our most wanted list. That's how shabby it is. So, joining me as always is Mr. Tom Connors.
How are you doing, good sir?
Oh, I am doing fantastic. It is getting pretty close to Christmas.
Yeah, this is probably our last official show of the week, but who knows? Maybe I'll be nice and read some Christmas stories to you guys over the Christmas holiday once I'll have a little time. Who knows? We'll see.
Maybe we'll read Sal Manella's Christmas. Twas Night for Christmas. Yeah. As he flew away, he said, real quick and abrupt, "Merry Christmas to all. Thanks a lot. Shut up." So. Yeah. Okay. But like I said, the news is getting kind of slow. It's getting toward Christmas. I hope everybody's having a happy, safe, and healthy, prosperous holiday season. But this is the time of year where various news outlets like to look back, and Variety has just done so. A man by the name of Dave McNary from Variety, he has compiled the list of Hollywood's biggest successes and biggest flops. Now, this is not really a retrospective of the year show, but I thought it'd be kind of interesting to go over this. One of the biggest successes actually of the year they name is Wonder Woman. With a global box office of $821 million and a production budget of $120 million. Really not really that surprising. It just seems like, yeah, they had that moment and then they went right back right back into the gutter with Justice League.
Well, it speaks volume, and we brought this up on the roundtable, of course, but it speaks volumes to how much effect Batman v Superman really did have in the end, because when you even have Wonder Woman in your movie, considering she was just in a movie not even 6 months prior to that.
I know.
One of the biggest movies of the year. And this movie's not even doing well with her as one of the leads. That speaks volumes to how bad Batman v Superman had an impact on the general audience.
Yeah, I'll tell you what's surprising though on this list though, and I'm going to go through the list, is that there are a lot of films on this list. There's a few of them that have a very small production cost, but they actually made big money. Wonder actually. The Julia Roberts movie about the kid, her son, who has a facial abnormality, I guess. That's a polite way of it. It has a production budget of $20 million, and it's still in theaters, but it's grossed global box office so far, $155 million. Right. Get Out, with a production budget of $4.5 million. Now, this is the Jordan Peele horror movie. Production budget of $4.5 million, made $254 million at the global box office. Production cost of $35 million, made $695 million at the global box office. And we have your usual suspects, Beauty and the Beast, production cost of $160 million, $1.26 billion at the box office. They just released The Last Jedi, $250 million production cost. So far, it is the number they give here is $536 million, but that's got to be closer to $600, I believe.
I'm not sure, but yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, and a couple of the other ones, here's where we get the interesting territory. Monster Trucks, a production cost of $125 million and $64 million it made at the box office. King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. Now, they were hoping that this was probably going to become a franchise for Warner Brothers. Production cost of $175 million, but it only made $148 million. But it kind of makes me wonder, has the King Arthur mythos really kind of run its course? Are they gonna really try to do that again?
We brought the King Arthurs and the Robin Hoods and all that kind of stuff up before, and how, of course, they're always going to keep trying to bring them back because Hollywood doesn't know how to do anything but go back to the well. And I think there's just too much other stuff.
Yeah.
To where, I mean, because I've heard some people say that the movie ain't even that bad, really. I mean, I've heard some people say it's like kind of corny, cheesy, decent, action popcorn flick. So, I mean, I haven't seen it yet. But, I mean, just the same, you've got so much other shit competing for your dollar right now when it comes to big blockbuster films with big name, superheroes and stuff like that, to where stuff like Robin Hood and all these other stuff is just going to get lost in the shuffle. I mean, how many times in the last 5-6 years have we had a Tarzan movie flop?
Yeah.
And how many different Robin Hoods
and they still go back to the well, yeah. a familiar face on this list, actually. Valerian in the City of a Thousand Planets. A production budget of $180 million, global box office $225 million. I've read actually the in some places that the production budget is actually over $200 million, but it's all academic now. Okay, like I said, we're getting familiar territory. The Dark Tower production cost $60 million, global box office $100 million, $111 million. I thought that would have a bigger budget.
Well, no, that was one thing where Rothman come in, and I think he cut the budget quite a bit.
Okay, now you can't spend a whole lot on this movie. We're paying Steven Spielberg? No, it's the Stephen King guy, the guy up in Maine. We're paying out the ass for the rights for this.
He hasn't had a hit in I don't know how long.
We don't want him to sick that Jack Nicholas on us.
6 months later, what is this It thing?
Oh my God. Oh, brother.
Why didn't we spend more money on our King movie? I actually got to see it finally.
What,
I
the Dark
haven't brought
Tower?
it up. Yeah, I haven't brought it up anywhere or anything because
All right. Okay. What did you think of it? What did you think of it?
it was a movie. It was like 90 minutes long. It had Idris Elba in it and a kid. And Matthew McConaughey.
That's the kindest thing you can say about it. It was a movie.
It's just there. It exists.
Oscar Isaac's The Promise. I haven't heard of this one. Production cost of $90 million. Global box office of $8 million. Yikes! Geostorm, the Gerard Butler.
I guess
you call it a science fiction movie. Global production cost of $120 million. A global box office of $207 million. Okay, here's the problem with Geostorm, okay? It's about a weather control machine. Anybody who's old enough knows that this is bullshit because we all know that Cobra has the weather control machine. They have the weather dominator technology since the 80s.
This was the gimmick in Superman 3. Remember? Yeah.
Yes,
Richard Pryor, he had to reprogram
the Vulcan satellite.
Because, like,
remember?
you just all you got to do is go in and punch in some numbers.
But I'm noticing a pattern here. A lot of the smaller to middle movies are actually doing a lot better than a lot of the blockbusters here.
Well, hopefully Hollywood takes note. Yeah.
Yeah. Usually they take note, they learned the wrong lessons. That's always been the problem.
Unfortunately, yeah.
But again, this proves that you don't need a huge budget to make money. You can have a smaller film that can do well. Even a superhero film like Deadpool. Deadpool only had a $60 million budget. Granted, they had all the visual effects done, on the cheap for them because they worked out a deal, didn't they? I forgot what exactly.
There's some conflicting stories on what exactly was spent on what and who did what and why the director didn't return. And it is kind of related to the fact Tim Miller had his own production company that did like special effects and stuff like that. I think is where his background originally was.
Well, he was a game. I think he was a game
designer.
They
did. Yeah. Well, anyway, they used his company at a very low cost to produce this film to get it done. Is what is being said out there in the atmosphere. And when he wanted more money for his troupe this time around, which was kind of his whole plan, was okay, we'll do this one for cheap, so then if this is a hit, when we do the sequel they'll actually pay us. Well, I guess that's kind of what, now this is all rumor and speculative, that is what went on behind the scenes, and why he didn't return was because they basically said, no, if you can't do it for the same price, we're not going to do it, kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. But like I said, anyway, I'm glad to see the sort of lower budget middle movies make money because we always hear people, I'm tired of superhero movies. But look, you have choices, okay?
Well, you can do stuff like Kick-Ass. You can do stuff like Deadpool. And I don't mean R-rated in general, but I mean just these smaller level superhero movies too.
Yeah. And, you can, and like I said, you can make a comedy for $10 million. You can make a drama that is compelling for 15, 20 million, and it can find an audience, or you can, like I said, and another thing, a lower budget forces you, like I said, to be creative and to do a lot of stuff. Star Wars was made for $10 million at the time.
Well, that movie damn near killed George Lucas.
Yes, but my point is they had to be creative enough to find ways to do things on the cheap, and that's really what a lower budget forces you to do, is forces you to be creative. I helped make a short film when I was in an improv comedy group, and the big hang up was, where are we going to find a police car?
Right.
And I said to them, listen, we don't need a police car. Oh, what are you talking about? I said, we don't need a police car. We need the idea of a police car, a siren, some lights, a guy in a police uniform, and there you go.
The stuff you can get, yeah.
Yeah, and it worked. Like I said, directors have to be creative. It's like that. It's like that bit in The Critic. Tell them you want more than just $100 million of effects and explosions.
Well, and look at a situation like Jaws.
Yeah.
Back in 1975, that actually had a pretty big budget, but that big budget didn't help that movie because the shark didn't work, and Steven Spielberg had to improvise on the fly. Is what made that movie more memorable in the end, because it made the shark scarier at the time, because his original idea was just to show the shark front and center right off the bat. And in hindsight, he said, actually the fact that shark didn't work saved my movie, in the end. So
they used it to build suspense, and they saved money by bringing in his non-union Mexican equivalent, Señor Spielbergo. Muy bueno.
Excellent.
So, okay, but like I said, hopefully, Hollywood will get the message this year that you can have a hit and you can have a compelling movie relatively cheaply.
Well, I think they even missed the boat on a movie like The Disaster Artist, which we've pointed out a few times here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure that didn't cost that much to make, and it could have made a ton of money if they'd have opened it up very wide the weekend before Star Wars. It would have done gangbusters, I feel. But I think they really stunted their growth now. But anyway.
I'm thinking The Disaster Artist, they totally underestimated the demand for something like The Disaster Artist. And somebody's sitting at, which studio handled that, The Disaster Artist?
A24. So they are a smaller studio. And I think,
okay,
the thing is I think Warner Brothers was originally attached to it. And I bet now they are kicking their ass a little bit on that.
And that really had the chance to be a breakout hit for a lot of the right reasons.
Well, if it gets some notice during the Oscars, we never know. And that'll probably be right around the time it comes out on video as well. So it might find its audience then. Like,
you're tearing me apart.
It might be ironic, just like The Room. You never know.
Yeah. Oh, well, anyway, like I said, I heard Franco and Tommy Wiseau on the Howard Stern a few weeks ago, and actually that was hysterical.
Yeah.
For those who have Sirius, I'm pretty sure that's going to be replayed at some point over the holiday season. Moving on, Tom's a big horror fan, and actually word just came down from Slash Film.
Yes.
That the original Halloween actor will play Michael Myers again.
Yes.
David Gordon Green's Halloween reboot sequel is shaping up nicely. Halloween star Jamie Lee Curtis is coming back, and she's not the only original cast member set to return. Nick Castle, who played killer Michael Myers in John Carpenter's 1978 classic, is going to slip on that iconic mask once again as he joins the Halloween reboot cast. Castle is the latest addition to a cast that includes Judy Greer and Andy Matachak. Judy Greer is one of those underutilized actresses in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And easy on the eyes too. So,
well, this is kind of exciting. At first, when I read the story, I'm like, oh, he's just doing a cameo. And then I actually started reading this. I'm like, wait a minute, he's playing Michael Myers again? This has got to be like something since like way back in the days of Dracula and Frankenstein, to where an actor has stepped away from a role and then come back that many years later. I can't think of any other time where that's possibly happened, in this kind of a situation like this. Yeah. And it's weird because Nick Castle wasn't even famous for acting really, or playing Michael Myers or anything like that, because most of you are like, who the fuck is this guy? Well, this guy actually is mostly well known for directing films like The Last Starfighter, Dennis the Menace, the one with Christopher Lloyd, and the cult classic Major Payne, which I don't know if you've ever seen that film, but that's a personal favorite of mine.
With
Damon Wayans, yes.
Yeah, Damon Wayans, yeah. I love The Last Starfighter. I really do. I think that is probably one of the more underappreciated movies of the 80s.
Definitely. I was just going to say, I mean...
Oh, yeah.
And it was such an original story.
It would be a good idea. I would like to see with updated effects, because the effects do look a little primitive now.
Oh, yeah. But ironically, this was one of the first movies to have fully rendered 3D digital effects.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and actually one of the last roles actually for Robert Preston. Actually, Robert Preston's staple in Hollywood, song and dance man was in The Music Man. Was good as he was excellent as Centauri, the old crafty. I wouldn't call him a grifter,
Right.
but it was a bit of a I don't know if I call him a snake oil salesman, but he was kind of that flim flam man, sort of that Music Man-esque air about his character. Actually, maybe we should do a Last Starfighter retrospective.
Maybe. And despite the aging of the special effects, like you said, it's still a pretty tight story. And I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've got it on Blu-ray. It still holds up besides the special effects. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that's the only thing that doesn't hold up. And yeah, there was talks for a long time I think there was a sequel talk for a long time, and then they were talking about a reboot.
Well, now it sort of feels like I said, video games are so ubiquitous now, and with the internet, you would have a good avenue to reboot this thing.
Yeah.
With the whole online play and people, with their online personas.
It would make like a good Netflix or Hulu series.
Oh yeah, because they hint at a larger universe. One thing actually, and like I said, I know the stories about Nick Castle, but one thing, and actually, well, this speaks of his directorial prowess, though, about The Last Starfighter. The main character, the hero, Alex, not a chosen one, not some sort of, not really this bad kid, misunderstood. He's just like a normal guy.
Yeah, they made him a very straight-laced, typical 80s teenager.
They made a straight-laced, he looks about 30, come on, he's teenager. But anyway, we digress.
I think he's supposed to be like 18, 19, though. That's the whole thing,
he wants to get into college. He wants to make himself better, but he's sort of stuck in this bad situation. He's kind of like a Luke Skywalker.
Well, I was just going to say, Nick Castle actually did borrow a lot, and he didn't even hide it from Star Wars. I mean, obviously that was a huge inspiration on this film. But it was like, you see, Star Wars had inspired the evolution in video games, so it was almost like a snowball effect where this was just a perfect storm of capturing. That, like I said, it's one of those movies, and you said we should do a retrospect because we've gone way off track. This is supposed to be about Halloween.
but this is good. This is good. I like this.
But no, it is one of those movies that doesn't get enough notice, and frankly, I think we should do a retrospective. What do you guys think? Let us know down in the comments. It'd be nice to hear some decent comments.
Yes, The Last Starfighter. Let us know if you liked it. Let us know if you didn't like it. Let us know what you like about it. Let us know if you wanted to talk more about it. Like I said, Nick Castle, we're talking about Nick Castle in Halloween, but at the same time, he delivered one of the most memorable films of the 1980s. And the fact that we're still talking about it really and speaks to his directorial abilities.
But I was just going to say, he's a very undersung director. Sure, the movies he made were a lot of corporate popcorn bullshit, but you can't, there's so many people where you could quote a line from Major Payne and they know exactly what you're talking about.
If he's in there, he ain't happy. That's the
other one I like too is, I put my foot so far up your ass, the sweat on my knee will quench your thirst. What in the world would anybody want with a blind dog?
Oh, Lord.
If you haven't seen Major Payne, kids, it's hilarious.
It's well worth the 90 minutes to spend on Major Payne. But anyway, like I said, Nick Castle, one of the more underappreciated talents in Hollywood. I would like to see him do something.
Well, he's obviously getting back into acting.
There you go. So anyway, what do you think, Tom? I think it's time we move to the roundup. Ladies and gentlemen, for the roundup. Well, buckaroos, saddle up that horse, saddle up the barn. It's time to have ourselves roundup. Yeehaw! Oh boy, I love my Western accent. So, I'm always a big fan of a good music movie. I remember the original, and now A Star Is Born, the remake, reboot, whatever you want to call it, has a release date.
Well, the version you're referring to, I think, is even a remake, to be honest, because I think this movie's been remade like 4 or 5 times now.
Yeah, it has. Yeah. Warner Brothers, A Star is Born is moving its release date again. The remake, directed by Bradley Cooper and starring Cooper and Lady Gaga, will now hit movie theaters on October 5th, 2018. Okay, so Penske, not from the Penske file from Seinfeld, but Penske Media. They are closing a deal to buy Rolling Stone magazine from Jan Wenner. They've acquired a major stake in the publisher. This comes to us from Deadline. PMC chief Jay Penske has closed a $100 million deal to acquire a controlling interest in Wenner Media, the parent company of the venerable rock music bible Rolling Stone. Jan Wenner, who founded the magazine in 1967 with Ralph Gleason in San Francisco with a $7,500 loan from family members, will be involved and take the role of editorial director. His son Gus Wenner will continue as president CEO. PMC will beef up its content and will announce its editorial lineup shortly. Gus Wenner will join Penske Media Corp's advisory board. Now, for you younger people, a magazine is a book that comes out monthly. It's got. I kid.
Well, and just to kind of put it in some context here, Penske Media is probably one of the last major publishers left, other than maybe like Time, because they do Variety, stuff like that. So I mean, the IndieWire probably puts some life back into Rolling Stone, because I bet if this didn't happen, I highly doubt Rolling Stone would have lasted as its current state that much longer, because they're not as relevant as they used to be.
No, Rolling Stone used to be like, when you were on the cover of Rolling Stone, you made it.
Shel Silverstein song.
Yeah, exactly.
Sang by Dr. Hook.
Oh, on the cover of the Rolling Stone.
Rolling Stone.
There was a time that I wanted to write for Rolling Stone.
Oh, yeah. If you were anybody who wanted to get in any kind of writing, whether it was music, movies, that was where you wanted to go. Of course, the famous story, Almost Famous, is all about Cameron Crowe writing for Rolling Stone. So, I mean, and that was his dream, originally. So, oh, yeah, it was a big deal. I know plenty of people who still hold Rolling Stone in very high regard. But as I said, it's just, it's fallen off. And maybe this will help boost the brand again. You never know.
Yeah. Well, I think rock and roll really has to make a comeback for that to happen, but that's a whole other discussion.
We're not even going to get into that yet, because then we'll just be the old guys. Get off my lawn! Your music's too loud.
With me, it's not loud enough. I lost a lot of hearing from my hearing from going to concerts.
Turn it up.
Moving on, Disney and Kenneth Branagh find the star of Artemis Fowl movie. This comes to us from Variety. Ferdia Shaw has been tapped to play the title role in Disney's Artemis Fowl, which is being directed by Kenneth Branagh. Branagh and casting director Lucy Bevan met with over 1,200 individuals for the role before landing on Shaw, who will be making her feature debut. Branagh is also producing the pick with Judy Hoffland. Josh Gad has also signed on to star, joining Judi Dench, who had previously been announced. Laura McDonnell has also been cast in the role of Captain Holly Short, the elf hero, and Nonso Anazi will play Butler, Artemis Fowl's formidable bodyguard. Written by E-I-E-O-I-N Colfer. I'm not going to try to pronounce that. Andre, where are you when we need you? Eowyn, Ein, Oin, Groin? I don't know. Oin. Oin. It looks like Oin. That guy, written by that guy. The children's books follow the brilliant and cunning 12-year-old eponymous criminal mastermind Artemis Fowl II, whose plot to extort gold from the secret fairy people puts him directly in the crosshairs of some of the most dangerous creatures on Earth.
Our crowd knows him best as the director of the first Thor film.
Yeah, Kenneth Branagh, actually, he also was in Woody Allen's Celebrity. He actually played the Woody Allen part in that, I believe. So, the sort of the little nervous guy. I like Woody Allen's movies, except for that nervous fellow who's always in them. Another Simpsons reference, so. Actually, and rounding out the roundup, Jerry Seinfeld. Now, you may be wondering why we're talking about Jerry Seinfeld.
Why are we talking about Jerry Seinfeld?
Well, it turns out Jerry Seinfeld convinced Hugh Jackman to retire as Wolverine. Hugh, why are you still doing the movies with the claws and the snicked? I don't understand. What? Who are these people? These X-Men?
Yeah, let me show you my bank account.
So this comes to us from Variety. Jerry Seinfeld indirectly convinced Hugh Jackman to retire his Wolverine character after 17 years. Jackman told Willem Dafoe during Variety's Actors on Actors. When Jackman asked the famous comic how he decided to end his hit series, Seinfeld, he said, "I've always believed you should never spend everything creatively because it's almost Herculean to start up again. You should always have something in the tank." Jackman recalled, "Leave the party before it gets too late" kind of theory. So if you want to blame anybody, blame Jerry. Not that we're going to blame Jerry too often, but we don't like to end on a down note, so we like to wish a few people happy birthday.
All right.
Happy birthday to Mr. Jonah Hill.
One of your favorites.
Oh, yeah. Or as I call him, Seth Rogen Jr. He turns 34. Nicole DeBoer. You know her better as Ezri Dax from Deep Space Nine. She turns 47. Joe Cornish turns 49. Now, if you don't recognize that name, he helped Edgar Wright co-write a lot of his movies, like The World's End and like Hot Fuzz. So, and he did have a hand in writing part of Ant-Man with Edgar Wright. So he turns 49. New York Mets third baseman David Wright, New York Mets infielder, turns 35 years old. And celebrating birthdays on December 21st is none other than Samuel L. Jackson! He turned 69. Where would we be without Samuel L. Jackson?
It would be a very empty world.
Actress Jane Fonda turns 80 years old. You know her from Barbarella, from Clue, from
Indeed.
On Golden Blonde? No, that's a completely different movie.
Yes, it is.
on Golden Pond. Kiefer Sutherland, President of the United States, designated survivor. Jack Bauer, one of the Lost Boys, and musician, turns 51. Actor comedian Ray Romano, turns 60.
Deborah!
My favorite Family Guy moment was when they had Al Michaels, Harold Ramis, and Kermit the Frog and Ray Romano in a round table.
How are you talking to me? I didn't say anything. Who's talking then?
Those are our birthdays for today. So if you're celebrating a birthday, happy birthday out there.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, too. I mean, geez. And we got Festivus coming, and you can put up the aluminum pole and air your grievances, and you get to wrestle me for the feats of strength. So anyway, but if you do like the show and you want to help us celebrate the holidays, whatever you're celebrating, why not click subscribe? And while you're at it, click the bell icon. That way you're notified of all the latest content that's uploaded. And if you really like the show, please consider supporting the show through Patreon. And, well, I don't know if you can do this, but you can give Patreon supporters as a Christmas gift. What better way to celebrate?
I don't see why not.
Yes. And Patreon supporters will get all kinds of bonuses. You'll get behind-the-scenes Making of the Edge videos. You'll get to learn the untold story of how Midnight's Edge came to be. You will get early notice of mini documentaries. You'll get audio from mini documentaries. You will get outtakes, bloopers, lost episodes. You will get all kinds of neat stuff. You'll get, and like I always say, the uncut audio from the Alien mini documentary, just because that was so hard for me to record. I'm not going to let you forget about it. So
it's there.
It's there. And if you can't support the show through Patreon, if money's tight, we love our fans. We cannot do this without you. You're the reason why we do this. So but by all means, please click subscribe and share with your friends, family, relatives, enemies, supervillains.
Like Dictor Von Doomcock.
Like Dictor Van Doomcock. We'd like to throw another shout out to Dictor Van Doomcock. We are in touch with Dictor Van Doomcock. We will have an announcement about that.
We've breached his security.
Soon. Yes, we have breached his security. It's scary down there, man. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
I mean,
he was impressed. He was impressed with us breaching his security. He told me that.
Yeah, but he was eating a Hot Pocket at the time. I don't know. That's what superheroes eat. Hot
Supervillains, yes, they must.
Supervillains. Yeah.
Oh, it's probably hard to find a good maid or a chef when you're a supervillain, don't you think?
Probably. I mean, yeah, you're gonna have to, unless you are of the stature of Dictor Van Doomcock or Doctor Doom. You know, hey, Doctor Doom has an entire kingdom, so there's got to be a couple chefs in there.
We'll have to ask him those things when we actually get a chance to talk to him.
Yeah, maybe he has a robot chef.
That could be.
It could very
But he's got
well
a
be.
built-in microwave, and Hot Pockets are his specialty.
Yes, Hot Pockets, and like you said, burritos, and I think I see him microwaving a chimichanga. I'm not sure, but anyway, so we're gonna have more information about Dictor Van Doomcock, our worldwide exclusive that is coming soon. We will have more information, so stay tuned for that. But like I said, we also like to thank Ren Ransom for joining us. Ren from Ren Ransom for joining us on the Trek Log. We're gonna have her back. Happy holidays, everybody. Stay safe, be good to each other, and we will catch you next time.